Turned out to be Jeremy Clarkson's crystal ball.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. Let's not worry that they've closed all the post offices, the schools, the pharmacies, the doctors, everything in my area, because I can always drive to the nearest town. No, I can't then.
I'll tell you what this is. I'll tell you what this is. This is from Chapter 1 in Left-Wing Dictatorship Handbook.
Oh, God.
No, listen, it is Stalin, okay? First thing he did, limit movement. Second thing, ID cards. Know what I'm saying? Third thing is curfews.
It's literally quite spooky. That was from 2008, but how spot on were the Top Gear hosts? Because Labour have already announced they're bringing in digital ID, and tonight the Telegraph is reporting that Chancellor Rachel Reeves plans to bring in a new pay-per-mile tax for electric vehicles in the budget. You couldn't make it up. Now remember in 2001 when Gordon Brown said dash for diesel. So lots of us rushed out to buy those cars, only years later to be told how dirty they were, and ultra low emission zones came in and they were slapped with a daily tax in the capital. Then in July, Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander said this.
You would like all of us to buy more electric cars.
I would.
And at the moment, only 20% or so of new cars sold in this country are electric. They are expensive. They can be a bit of a hassle. If you live in a flat or you don't have a driveway, if you're not lucky enough to have a big, long driveway, it's not easy to plug your car in. So how are you going to get people to shell out the cash?
So there is some good news. In June of this year, 1 in 4 cars that was sold in the UK was an electric vehicle, and that over this year that has gone up 35% on the previous year. So we're moving in the right direction, but we do need to make it easier and cheaper for people to buy an electric vehicle.
How's that going then? Well, let's talk now to former motoring journalist Danny Kelly. Danny, thank you so much for joining me on this story. We got you last minute because it's tomorrow's papers this, so it's what everyone's going to be talking about tomorrow. So the government have decided to come after electric car drivers first on pay per mile. Are you surprised?
Well, as Mel Stride said, Bev, you know, if you own something valuable, Labour are going to want a slice of it, and we're seeing that. And the encapsulation, the embodiment of Labour policy was just before my introduction with Heidi Alexander, who said, look, we want more people behind the wheels of electric cars, and in order to do that, we've got to incentivise them and incentivise them financially. So we're going to hear at the end of November with the autumn budget, we're going to hear a potential 3 pence per mile purely for electric car drivers, purely for electric car drivers. Now, the reason that the Labour government are doing this, and you're right, nearly a quarter of a century, by the way, Bev, quarter of a century, Gordon Brown incentivise people financially to get out of petrol and go into diesel. I'm a used car dealer as well as being a motoring journalist, and people are still talking about Gordon Brown incentivising them to get into diesel cars. And it's not just London where you've got to pay to drive. You've got to pay to drive in Birmingham. You've got to pay to drive in Bristol if you're a pre-2015 diesel car. So electric car drivers, they are going to feel rightly rattled by this. They will feel that they have been punished for, in their eyes, doing the right thing. Most electric car sales, Bev, new car sales, generally speaking, we all know people who own electric car vehicles, but generally speaking, they're company car drivers because they get a massive tax break. And also a lot of Motability cars are actually electric cars because car manufacturers and retailers are incentivizing electric cars to get on the road because of, again, government punitive costs. If you don't hit a target for electric cars, you're fined up to £12,000 or £13,000 every car you miss that target. So it is such mixed messaging, Bev. You are right to be annoyed and angry about this because once again, you have an administration telling you one thing. Heidi Alexander, probably 2 weeks ago, telling us to drive electric cars. And here we are anticipating GB News, breaking the news, anticipating a 3 pence per mile levy. I mean, you don't know where you stand as a motorist.
It's also, Danny, it's because they're getting less tax on fuel because people have done as they've been told. Good citizens have followed what the government wanted them to do in the border. So the revenue is coming down from the fuel tax.
Yeah.
Fair enough, I get that. Well, surely they knew that was going to happen. Surely that would have been the point. There would have been one of the consequences of this. But they're now saying it opens the door and raises the questions about the wholesale adoption of pay per mile taxation for all cars. So as is the way with all of these authoritarian moves from this government, and actually governments all around the world, Labour are not exclusive in this, is that it will start with the electric car driver and then it will be all of us. So what do the electric car drivers, do you think, what should they do to stop this? Because I think they've gone after the electric car drivers because they are probably the virtuous ones, because they are the ones who want to do good maybe, and they sleep well at night knowing they're saving the planet. Maybe they are the crowd that they know will just accept it, whereas people driving around in a massive 4-litre diesel engine might have told them to sling the rock anyway if they tried it with them.
Yeah. Bev, my understanding is that the way that they're going to collect the tax is like a self-assessment. So if you're self-employed, you have to self-assess. You have to tell the government how much you've earned, and also you have to project forwards how much you think you're going to earn. And I think that's going to be what it's like. So to answer your question, I don't see what an electric car driver can do. I don't think there's any protest that one can make. Like when I do my PAYE, my accountant sorts my books out. I mean, like most people, I'd rather pay less tax, but I pay what I have to pay. Electric car vehicle owners are going to be the same. There's no way around it. And I'll tell you what, Bev, technology, it's so straightforward. So let's just say you buy an electric car, point A, it's done 10,000 miles. 12 months later, it's done 15,000 miles. All you've got to do, Bev, you've got to take a photograph with your smartphone and you've got to put it with your self-assessment for your car. And they are going to work out that 3 pence per mile, 5,000 miles is 150 quid. It's impossible really to avoid.
I hate it. And it will start with 3 pence per mile, Danny, because everyone thinks, oh, well, that's not too bad. And it will be more and more and more. And effectively what they're doing is the government are moving us onto a subscription service with our own vehicles, and I despise it. And the ultimate, if we use our imaginations here, the ultimate next step is that people just won't even bother owning a car. They'll just think, I'm not taking it on, and I will just rent a car when I want them, some sort of smart car system maybe, 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Is that where it will go, or will the motorist always find a way to get behind the wheel?
But in big cities like London and Birmingham, where I'm talking to you from tonight, where there is alternatives to a car, then I agree with you. People will say, OK, sod this. I am going to think of an alternative because I don't want Big Brother and everything. But also there are areas around the country. I mean, GB News, the biggest news station in the United Kingdom, there are viewers in rural areas, not just cosmopolitan big city areas, Bev, where it's a necessity to buy and drive a car. So being a used car dealer as well as a motoring journalist, I sell cars to people out of necessity. It's not out of want. It's not out of desire. It's out of the fact that they need a car, because public transport is rubbish. They need a car to take the kids to school, and there is no alternative to that. They need a car to go, in my case, to see my beloved 92-year-old father down the road. There is no alternative. I can't just jump on a bus outside and get to me old man. So I think there are areas and there are alternatives in big city locations, but maybe not for 85% of the country.
OK, Danny, great to see you. Perfect sense as usual. Danny Kelly there. Lovely to see you. I think it was Jordan Peterson who said the car is a radical symbol of freedom and privacy. And what do this government not like? Freedom and privacy. Let me know your thoughts. gbnews.com/you'll say. What has turned out to be Jeremy Clarkson's crystal ball.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. Let's not worry that they've closed all the post offices, the schools, the pharmacies, the doctors, everything in my area, because I can always drive to the nearest town. No, I can't then.
I'll tell you what this is. I'll tell you what this is. This is from Chapter 1 in Left-Wing Dictatorship Handbook.
Oh, God.
No, listen, it is Stalin, OK? First thing he did, limit movement. Second thing, ID cards. Know what I'm saying? Third thing is curfews.